Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Messengers Podcast. I am Chris Searles.
And I'm Rob Seifert.
Today we're going to talk a little bit about customer service and the way that you view customer service in your business. We tend to see these days a lot of times, especially on the bigger brand side of things, I think, but it definitely falls into how small businesses and sole proprietors really kind of view customer service, but a lot of times you see way too many businesses that look at it as an expense and really not as the investment that it should be seen as. For me, the classic example is the automated phone system. There's nothing worse than dealing with the prompts and the especially right now my phone screen's busted, so I can't really get my phone, the keypad up on my phone at the same time I'm actually on the phone without a lot of effort. So just trying to go through those prompts is kind of a pain in the ass. But even, I mean, the worst one to me is you go through all those prompts, you're on for minutes at least. Going through them all, and they ask for your customer number, and you go through all that, and the first thing somebody asks you is, what's your name and what's your customer number? I said, you mean the stuff that I just gave you in the auto? That's literally like the only thing you asked me for in the automated system. What is the point of the automated system?
Exactly, right.
If you're just going to ask me for it again. So really, I guess the goal of this is to try to make sure that you start looking at your customer service as an investment and not as an expense.
Sure. I mean, if you're a small business and you use one of those automated systems, it should just be a few levels of automation. It shouldn't be deep at all. Some customers follow the trend of the big companies. The smaller companies follow the trend, and they feel that that's the standard. But there really is a value in live person on the phone and that customer service.
And if you're doing that, you're missing out on a huge opportunity, right? To get that maybe long tail group of customers that are going to value that more than whatever that bigger competitor is doing for them. And that's an opportunity to be different and to stand out.
Sure.
But like you said, I mean, there definitely sometimes there is there's a use for some of that if it's done the right way. I mean, we have an auto attendant and things like that, but really the auto attendant is for whatever reason nobody's able to answer the phone right now. I mean, we're a relatively small company. If we have two people out at lunch at the same time and two people that are away from their desks and another person that's in a meeting and things like that, then you might end up with, well, nobody can answer the phone right now, and we want to make sure that phone call is handled accordingly. So we do utilize it, but it's a backup. It's not the primary.
Here it really matters. I mean, we get the 2-ring rule.
Yeah. Is that a you getting mad at me for that now?
Not you.
Yeah, that's my rule, is the 2-ring rule. If it rings more than twice, then somebody better get on that phone quickly.
Well, it's important, and especially if it's a first impression for a client too. They really need to talk to a live person right away, so we can help them with what they need. I mean, as a manager here, I really want to field most of the calls myself, just to find out exactly what the person needs and who they should be speaking with in our company. I mean, we're a smaller company, mid-size, so it's a little bit easier for me to deal with it directly than some of the bigger companies. But if we're talking about small business, it's important to have an accessible manager.
And that's part of our business model, right? I mean, that's always been what we've been about. We've talked about this in the past on other podcasts, but customer service is a huge part of what we sell. I mean, it almost is, to an extent, what we sell.
Sure.
It doesn't mean that people can't get printing done elsewhere. It doesn't mean that they can't get, I mean, we have competitors in everything that we do, but we don't feel like any one of those competitors delivers the value that we deliver when you account for customer service and what we do for our clients, and the extent that we'll go to for them, and all of those things kind of put together are why we are here, why we've been here for 45 years, and why we're going to be here hopefully for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, we pretty much put that effort into every client, and everybody should, if they value customer service, if they find it as an investment. I mean, I'll be on the phone with a client that's calling in, and I will spend an ample amount of time consulting on a project, giving them ideas on print formats and strategies for direct mail. And, sometimes they take that information and go elsewhere. But it's for the people that stay with us is why we do it. The people that want to work with us, that's why we do it.
Yeah.
And
we talked about that in, what was the episode we...
evaluating.
What was it? There was an episode we actually went into a lot of detail on that. Was it the basics of buying print?
I can't recall.
I don't remember. But
yeah, well, it's every day. Every day we deal with this with customer service. I mean, we just trying to be as helpful as possible. And
and we sometimes I feel like going back and listening to these and watching them, we focus on the negative a little bit in terms of what people are not doing or should be doing.
Right.
But there are plenty of examples of people that do this extremely well and even at scale. I mean, Amazon is the perfect example. I mean, every single customer service interaction I've had with them only makes me want to work with them even more and buy from them even more because it's just easy. Right. It's, I've even had, times where I ordered the wrong thing and I knew I ordered the wrong thing and I went back and said, look, I'm sorry, I ordered the wrong thing. Is there anything, can I return it? Can I, whatever, but it's a product, maybe it's not a lot of money, whatever right. I spent, and probably cost more to return it than it would to just buy a new one.
Yeah.
And have had no problem with them saying, "Don't worry about it, we'll send you another one."
Yeah.
And it's a small cost to them, and it is going to guarantee that when I come back to make bigger purchases or more frequent purchases, that I know that I'm covered and I'm protected. Right. And that they care about my experience there, and so I'm going to make that purchase there. I'm going to do something with that.
Right. And I know you wanted to use a positive example, but there's negative examples too.
Oh yeah, there's plenty of those.
Yeah. And that's just bad business. I don't know how
there's
some
a certain cable company out in this area that.
Yeah, I don't know if we can mention names.
Rhymes with SHM Optimum. I won't mention them by name, but. As soon as I have an alternative,
right? I know
certainly will take it.
And here, I relate a lot of what we talk about to what happens here in our own office. The customer service extends outside of the office. I was just in the art department, and one of our designers was talking to a client, and she mentioned to the client that she was going to be in her area, and the client couldn't get here to pick up a print job, and she's meeting the client between their homes to deliver a job. And that's just something everybody does here because we value customer service so highly.
And with that, there's also, as a business owner, right, there is a way to make sure that you also empower your employees to make those decisions and to do those things.
Sure.
It's part of the culture that you build, that they go out of their way to do those things, that they make the suggestion, that you don't have to, you didn't have to tell her to do that. Right. She did it on her own because that's part of our culture. That's what's ingrained here, is that's what we do for our customers. Those are the lengths that we go to for our customers. Tim Ferriss talks about that a lot in the way that, when he was working on the 4-hour work week and a lot of those areas, and the way that he was able to take a lot more off of his plate was to empower the people that were working for him to make those decisions and to say, I forget what his numbers were, but anything that costs the business less than $100 or $75 or whatever that is, you are empowered to make that decision the best way that you see fit. If it doesn't cost us more than this amount of money. If it does, we still might do whatever you recommend. We just want to make sure it gets approved somewhere. But empowering your employees to make those decisions and to do things like that goes a long way, because it also means that it can happen quickly, that it's not something that somebody is waiting on an answer about and what they can do. And they also feel more taken care of when it's just right away. Yeah, no, don't worry about it. We're going to take care of that, or we'll deal with it, or whatever.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I deal with that all the time, even in terms of being, fair to customers. I mean, if there's an issue with a project, you know, I'm empowered to say we're going to reprint a job because of a problem. I mean, that in itself is, you know, a decision that somebody in customer service should be able to make, and most companies is dealing with issues clients have immediately.
And that, I think the empowerment thing goes a long way too, because your company might deal with those things if that's the way that, whether it's a business owner or you know, senior management decides they want to deal with it. But I think when you allow your employees, or I mean, allow is, you know, whatever, but when your employees are empowered to make those decisions, it makes a bigger impact and really kind of drives home the customer service side of things with them even more, that they know that I'm supposed to make this right. I'm supposed to do the right thing here and figure out what that is and take care of my customer, rather than just saying, well, it's not my job, I'm not going to deal with it.
Sure.
You decide what you're going to do.
Well, that's a bad company culture. I mean, what you want to do is have, you know, that understood in your company. And we're lucky to have that here. I mean, you know, I feel that way. And I think everybody that works here feels that way. I mean, we have examples where, you know, our delivery driver, Bob, goes out on a delivery, and we get a call back from the client before he even returns to the building saying, you know, what a friendly, nice person he is, and how
the delivery guy was great. He was so nice. He was super helpful. I mean, and it happens a lot. That's not like a once a year type of thing. I mean,
it's common, and it's across, you know, it's across a lot of clients, and it's a lot of people that it touches on.
Yeah, and it matters, right? I mean, it makes a difference for sure. I mean, that is an external representation of our business and our brand and who we are and what we do. And if that didn't permeate throughout the entire business that way, where it's not just the people that are in our, you know, front office and, you know, typically dealing with customers all the time, but to, you know, how people are treated when they are given a tour through the building, you know, by staff that doesn't typically deal with customer service and customer interactions. And like you're talking about, you know, deliveries, you know, even if it's somebody that's working at a loading dock, doesn't mean that it doesn't matter how they're treated, how they're handled, how your people present themselves and present your organization, because that stuff makes its way somewhere to somebody at some point in time.
Sure.
You know, I use USAA, you know, the bank, the
insurance company,
veteran bank. Yeah. I use them as an example all the time, because I had gotten a referral to utilize them and work with them, primarily based on the way they handled their customers and what they did. And then, I mean, I can't tell you how many other people that I referred to them because of that.
Right.
And one of the biggest ones, we kind of going back to how we opened the episode, but one of the biggest ones was that when I made a phone call and I needed to talk to somebody, I got a human being on the phone right away within a couple of rings that was willing and able to help me and, you know, take care of whatever the problem was. Right. And not only did that make an impact on me and made me recommend them to other people, but that was something that stood out so much that I mentioned that when I actually made the referral.
Sure.
That, hey, when you call them, somebody's going to pick up the phone. There's a human being on the line that's actually going to talk to you and work through your problem and get it done. You know, it's not going to take 10 minutes. It's going to take 2 minutes because that's what they're doing for their clients. Yeah.
I had insurance with USAA for years, and they must be doing something right, because I referred them to many people over many years.
Yeah. You know, and that's really, I guess, the crux of what this episode is about, that it is an investment. Yeah, it's going to cost you some money. I mean, you're going to spend some money on customer service, whether it's in returns and refunds when, maybe it was the customer's fault and, you know, there was an issue there, but you're going to suck it up and you're going to say, look, okay, this is what we're going to do for you because that's what we want to be and that's what we want to be known for. Maybe it's hiring more call center employees and, you know, and making sure that you're going to get a human being on the phone rather than just a recording.
Yeah, spending time.
Yeah, but, you know, so there's an investment. I mean, it's it does cost money, but it's an investment. It's not an expense.
Definitely.